going to be like, what are they doing? They're very happy for one clap.
It's a celebration. Yay.
Yay.
Yeah. I'm probably fucking up your spikes, aren't I?
Yeah, probably. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Dudes Watch a Movie podcast, number 41 or 14. I'm not sure. There we go. This week, we got real fucking classy and watched Birdman. I am Notorious J&G with...
Dead Sprocket.
And...
I'm Lance.
Yeah, the truest form of all of us, if we're being honest. It really does say a lot about this movie. It's all about, destroying your ego, and Lance is the only one here that has destroyed the ego.
My ego was beaten down a long time ago.
Just
long time
dead
ago.
in the backyard somewhere.
Buried.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
So why don't you go ahead and hit us with some of them fun facts and all them details about this wonderful movie.
Well, as I was mentioning earlier, there's not a whole lot for fun facts. Only interesting fact I have on here was that the movie was carefully rehearsed, shot in sequence, and edited. It took only 2 weeks, and only 16 visible cuts throughout the entire film. Now, I know I'm completely skipping over plot points, but I will go ahead and backtrack to that. So we'll go back. You said interesting facts. Completely derailed me.
Did throw you off?
My format.
Yeah.
It was.
I
like,
just meant general facts. They didn't have to be interesting.
So here's a little bit derailment already.
Mm-hmm.
Go in your car, put your seatbelt on, and then when you're ready to leave the car, open the door with your seatbelt still on. It throws you off so bad.
I didn't know it was happening. I was
saying.
just so fucking flustered.
Did you do that recently?
Yes.
I did that at Fazoli's.
And then he's like, hey, try this. And I did. And I was like, this is uncomfortable.
It
'Cause
like
when you open
yeah.
your door, your body naturally just wants to swing to get ready to go out, but your seatbelt's still on. So you're just like...
And then you go quick enough that the seatbelt locks up, so it like throws you back in.
Like, what's happening? Why am I stuck?
I was
Let me
like,
out.
I was texting with the hand I normally do the other stuff with, and I was like, well, I mean, hold it. Oh God, I'm here. This is me now. Oh,
Anyway.
yeah.
Rile it back a bit. So, Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, came out in November of 2014. Tagline does not have a tagline, so I made up my own. Jazz drums. That's it.
That's crazy because mine was.
Mine is, hey, we're actors.
Nice.
Because there's so many people in here that I'm like, oh yeah, they're actors.
I thought about looking up the tagline from Batman 92 or 89, but I liked better.
Plot point. An actor famous for portraying an iconic superhero struggles to mount a Broadway play. In the days leading up to the opening night, he battles his ego and attempts to recover his family, his career, and himself. Director was Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu.
Sure.
I don't know. It's got those tildes or the little
Squigglies.
accent
Tilde?
god or whatever it's called. I don't know. Anyway, he's known for directing The Revenant. He was a producer on there, and then another one that's well known, 21 Grams. There's a bunch of other ones, but I'm sure aren't super huge, so I didn't put them in there. No
21
offense, Mr. Director.
21 Grams, that was the Will Smith one, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I
That's
haven't
pretty
seen
good.
that one. I saw Revenant, though.
No, I think you're thinking Men in Black.
Boo.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's the one with him and
His trial.
the one chick he's always in a relationship with.
Rosario Dawson?
Yes.
I don't
could
know.
not think of her name.
Yeah.
She was also Men in Black.
Box office
Fuck.
deets. Can you
You're
guess?
right.
Can you guess the budget for this film?
30 million.
Less.
20,
15.
29
Close.
million.
No.
28.
Close.
Close enough that I'd rather you just tell me.
18 million. The opening weekend it made 424,000. So
Sad.
it didn't make a whole lot of money. But however, gross across the U.S. it made 42 million.
Okay, good.
Cumulative worldwide 103 million. So
Yeah.
they made it back.
Mhm.
But still, that opening weekend.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, though, I don't.
How would you market this
Yeah.
movie? It's
Without
not a superhero
lying,
movie.
yeah, to get people there.
Which, given
the title, it sounds like it would be.
right, you think, oh, that's some Well, because Birdman was an old cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Harvey
think,
Birdman.
yeah.
I've
Attorney
heard of
at
it,
law.
but I've never seen it. So
Do you think they wanted Keaton because he's good, or because he played Batman and that fits the character?
I think
And they're being real meta right now.
I think it was
probably both.
Both, yeah. Like I assume. I guess I can't assume anything about it because I don't have any information or details about the writing process. But it seems very much like this movie was written with Michael Keaton in mind. There's just so many parallels between his character in this movie and then his actual like real life career trajectory. Not necessarily how he feels about Batman. I don't know if he was like, fuck Batman, why did I ever play Batman? But just like meta is the perfect word for it. Like there's so many things where it's like they're talking about this, but they could also be talking about real life. So
Little callbacks.
Get me this actor. He's in Iron Man 3. Get me this actor.
they
He's
were
doing
right about
another
all
one.
of those too. Like it was crazy.
Thing that blew my mind though is they're calling out actors' names who are playing in movies, but they themselves is in the movie, not considering themselves an actor.
Right. They
which
don't
is
ever
just
say
like-
Edward Norton or Michael
Right.
Keaton.
But-
That kind of bothered me.
It is one
Because
of
they
those.
name dropped
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yep.
and
Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
That's what I was thinking of.
Who was the other one?
They were all superhero related.
Yeah.
They're like, oh fuck, he's got them in the cake now too.
Hawkeye.
Yeah. Yep. Jeremy Renner. Yep.
Get me him. He was an Avenger.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised they actually used
They said he was in
AAA
the movie,
titles.
the bomb one.
Hurt Locker.
Hurt Locker. That
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Speaking of actors, obviously Michael Keaton.
Yep.
Zach Galifianakis is Jake. Excuse me. Edward Norton, Mike Shiner, Andrea Rosenberg, Naomi Watts. She apparently was an actress in Tank Girl, I think it was. I could be wrong.
She's also in Mulholland Drive.
Yes, that one was one I saw as well. Emma Stone, what everyone's Frank Ridley, Jeremy Samos, people of that sort that I don't know.
All
too
the
well,
other,
but
yeah.
the stars I
Yeah.
wanted to mention on there.
If
so.
I had not looked up the cast, I may not have known that was Galifianakis.
Yeah, I know.
Like-
He wasn't playing a silly character, and which is kind
Well,
of
he is still funny though.
ish, but not his typical self. Though.
Right. And I think that's one of the best parts of this movie is there's so many recognizable faces, but I don't see them as the actor. I see them as the character they play because they're either playing somewhat against type or they're going like well enough into the character that it's like I don't see Edward Norton,
Right.
but it's expected of him to be someone that like disappears into the role for the most parts. But like Zach Galifianakis lost some weight for it, like, and is playing a not he's still goofy, but he's not like the idiot
Not over the
character that he
top.
normally plays. Like he's kind of on top of things and he's trying to keep everything together but still loses his shit.
He did it well, whereas I feel like, and objectively, my opinion, Will Ferrell, when he played in that movie where it was like iterated by a book or something like that.
Oh,
I'm
Life
talking
is Strange.
Yeah, where he played more of a serious role. He didn't do it all that great, in my opinion, but Zach did it well. I mean, as far
Yep.
as I'm concerned, and I for a bit there, for some reason, I thought he was playing as his brother with how close they were, not necessarily best friend.
Oh, and the way they like talk to each other.
Yeah.
He's his agent basically.
Yeah.
He's his meal ticket.
Might as well be the brother.
Yeah. The same with Emma Stone. Like she's normally like the kind of not happy-go-lucky, but like sarcastic, witty, like whoa, crazy kind of person. And this one, she's still got some bite and some snark to her, but she's way more
Down to earth-ish.
Yeah, it's like toned
Realistic.
back a bit, and she's a bit meaner and angrier.
Was she in the Amazing Spider-Man
Yep.
series?
Yep.
Okay.
Can we get
that's
into
why-
that part already?
That's why she
All
looks
the-
so familiar.
Like all the crazy
Mary
connections.
Jane.
She's not Mary
No, she
Jane,
was-
first of all.
no.
She's Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
But
Hey, we do have we got Spider.
We got Spider-Gwen. Hell yeah.
We could have used
Do you have a Gwen Spacey?
Gwen Spacey.
Kevin Spacey doll. A Gwen Stacy doll that you can break its
no.
neck and kind of leave it lying
Oh,
there.
no.
Trigger
Sad.
everyone.
So Michael Keaton is Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Batman 89, 92, and all those. And Birdman is who he plays in this one.
Which was back in '92.
Exactly. And then he goes on to play Vulture in this, which is a Birdman, man. And also Spider-Man shows up prominently in this movie.
Twice.
Which how far in advance they have those going, because this movie came out in
2014.
Well, no, Spider-Man.
Oh.
2016, 2017. So it's very possible during the filming he was in talks.
You mean Homecoming?
Yeah.
7/7/2017.
Oh, shit. Good eyes. But it's also very possible that they were just like bringing up popular superheroes that people would recognize. And I know Spider-Man also, they tried to do a Broadway play, which was just a fucking disaster, apparently.
Turn Out the Dark?
I'm sure. I have questions about plays and stuff for later. But
Oh, yeah.
there was another one. Oh, Gwen Stacy, Emma Stone. It's just weird. Weird the amount of little intertwining
Hulk?
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hulk.
I have Batman versus Hulk right here.
And I think we all know who wins that fight.
Hulk got his ass kicked.
Yeah, because Batman's always got a plan, and it's to just kind of punch him in the face, I guess.
Or hit him with a
Straight up.
newspaper. Just gotta
Like a dog.
Frequently.
I guess the first thing that I have in my notes, though, is just soundtrack. It's one of the things that grabbed me. There's two big things, like the first time I watched this movie, that really grabbed me. First was the soundtrack. I know we talked about it before we start, where you're like, I don't get artsy drums. I like jazz drums. Like, I don't really care to listen to jazz music, but like if someone's just going and like doing like freeform drums and things like that, I always think it's kind of cool. But it's really cool when they can put it to actually match the footage. Like you were talking about the whole the Pepe Sylvia video that someone did, where they do the jazz over like his.
I didn't
his
quite
rant.
understand what he was trying to do. Then I realized, oh, it's jazz drums.
Yep.
You know, it's not
It-
going with anything. It's
Right.
just
It's kind of I don't know. I guess you can call it a solo because it's only that, but I think it's interesting, and it does make it stand out versus like the typical like film score, and it does a good job of like setting it's really good at building like, not drama, what's the word I'm looking for? Like chaos. Because
yeah,
it's
'cause
like
it's a very chaotic sound.
Yeah.
Like, there's no
Yeah.
rhythm necessarily to
Right.
it either.
Do you? Okay, so this is a play within a play within a movie.
right.
Right. It's
Yep.
all meta built onto it. That drum guy. Do you think he was actually there, or is that just in
No.
his head?
So that's something that I have a whole thing I want to talk about later, but I don't think he was there.
Yeah. Because Keaton keeps saying like, "Kill the music."
Yep.
Cue music.
Yep.
And then it instantly cuts.
I did read some later that said that the drummer is basically the harbinger.
Harbinger.
Harbinger. Yes, of change. So during the whole score, like when it starts and when it stops,
Yep.
there's those lulls, and during those lulls,
And is when like the next arc.
shit happens.
Yeah, the next like it's not
Called
arc,
a
but
transition piece.
transition.
His name is Antonio Sanchez, by the way.
Nice.
He scored the whole movie.
And there's another nice little like the jazz drum and the way the dialogue works out is kind of like intertwined as well too. Like it's really quick, but it's also kind of like
Back and forth.
Yeah, and like staccato, and like sometimes someone will go for a long time, and other times it's like just bam, 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 bam. Which I think that's another thing that kind of stuck out. And then obviously the big thing is the super long. Like it seems like there's almost no cuts in this movie, which, as you said, there are cuts, and they hit them really well. And when you watch them on the second, third viewing, you kind of see where they can do them. But that was something that took me a long time when I was first watching it to even notice. Like, it was probably halfway through the movie, and I started thinking, have they even done a fucking cut in this movie? Or is it just seems like it's been one big long thing. And I think that it's probably like the director kind of jerking his dick off, like, hey, look what we can do. But I think it also does a good job of, like you said, on the meta level, there's no cuts in a play, and the only thing you have is like close the curtains and then new location. But it does a good job of keeping that like the flow of a play. You can't cut camera angles. It's just whatever they want to show you is what you see, and that's kind of what I
do have
felt.
a question on that. So, what are you gonna say?
Okay, so there is a outtake or a screw up at the end when he's like floating down and coming back in front of the theater. A guy walks behind him and unclips his harness, which is what he was connected to. I don't think that was. I think that was intentional, like a play within a play. So if someone was descending down,
Yeah.
someone would walk behind him, unclip it casually, and then walk off.
I didn't even notice
That's
that.
just
That's nice. See, this is what we have. Lance, who is we're gonna call you the theater expert.
theater kid.
I've been to your play.
There you go.
Yeah, we weren't quite on the Broadway level, but there was a lot that was triggering me.
You were off Broadway though.
He was
Yeah.
community college level.
Yeah,
Still
I
off
was
Broadway. Because it
was,
wasn't on Broadway.
a 10-time best actor of Huff Theater.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Are you gonna miss the
I don't.
spike on that one for the
I don't
sound scene?
think-
I actually did see the spike on there.
I'm not very proud.
I'm proud for you.
Oh, that's right. I was going to bring my trophies in, and we were going to line them up. Shoot.
Missed opportunity. We'll put it in
Add it in
post.
post.
Yeah.
Cutouts with bad.
It was really badly done.
Just give me like a really bad one right here.
So since we're on the deal with the theater and all that jazz, sorry, I didn't mean to, but I caught myself there. Theater etiquette is weird to me, and I was hoping you could explain some of it potentially. So I don't understand the bowing at the end, like, because they do the scene where Mike and his girlfriend come out and they do the bow, and then Riggins and his girlfriend come out and they do the bow, then they all do the bow together.
That's just they run through the cast.
It's just so weird.
Typically, it'd be like, okay, these two were in a primary scene together. They come out, bow. Next group, bow. And then they all add together. You're thanking the audience, essentially.
I find
by
it.
scene.
I find
You
it
wouldn't
masturbatory.
understand.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
I just feel like it's like a yes, love us.
You don't understand true American art. Okay? I just licked an old homeless man's asshole.
You do look like you just licked an old homeless man's asshole.
Oh, I love the dialogue in this movie.
Clever, witty. I'm gonna roll it back really quick. So for the long track or the long shot, shot sequence, I have what do you think of the effects of shooting the movie as one long track shot? How does this change our viewing as experience as we watch it for the first time without immediately realizing it's one continuous shot? And what about when we're in the know, which that part you would answer, but from your perspective, for the first time viewing it as a one track, how do you think it basically changes the viewing experience?
Well, I had already seen reviews and other people talk about this years ago, so I'm kind of spoiled on it. I liked it. I don't think it would work as well as if you set up scenes. Like, it works, again, back to the whole meta play within a play. Like, you're just following them. Normally, they would come to you, but you're going with them throughout the scenes.
I gotcha.
Typically, I don't care much for the one long shot. There's a movie came out a couple years ago. It was all one take.
Yep.
They filmed it all one
Heard
take.
about that one, yeah.
Like I get the gimmick. I don't know if it really adds much, but this one it definitely helps. But again, it's a fake one shot.
Yeah.
Right.
They're hidden transitions.
And I think that's the strength of this one versus that other movie, which I fucking might want to look it up because I, for the life of me, will not remember it. That's like bad 3D versus Avatar 3D, where it's not just a gimmick. In this one, it actually helps to further some form of theme or narrative.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I don't know if
Victoria.
Avatar does that, but the idea of it done well for a reason versus just being done because you can.
One of you said that a long shot is just the director
Victoria,
jerking off.
Oh yeah, that's me.
That is basically what any long
Yeah.
shot is. Like, look what we can do. Look how
Right.
great we are.
And-
And we'll never do it again.
And it's the thing with this one too is it's super impressive, but it's not.
It's not distracting.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't jump out at you. It took me, like I said, like half the movie before I realized it because there's so many other things that are done at such a high level versus like when people are too like fancy with their dialogue or the sound effects or the score, like they try to get to, and then that's all you can focus on. Or the editing, like fucking Christ, when people are like, check out this cool transition and this one and this one and this one and this one and this one.
Overall, honestly, my feelings about it, I feel like it was really well done for what it was, because it makes you feel like everything is all happening in this one small theater. There is no breakaway necessarily. Nothing really takes place outside the theater. I mean, obviously
Until the
outside,
end,
but,
yeah.
You're not jumping back to his home to see his home life fall
or
apart.
the drive or anything
and then
like
back
that.
to work.
I said it afterwards watching it, I have a more greater appreciation for it, and I feel like by them doing that, you kind of get more of that person's perspective of their story.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting a third person's perspective as far as what's going on. Where all the other shots, usually you'll have like someone watching on. Whereas this one, you get a little bit more intimacy with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as that flows away, it's like you're in the theater watching all these other things kind of go on and then experiencing from their point of view. So, I mean, you get a little bit more personalization, I feel like. But that's kind of my thought. I can't imagine how difficult it was. But
Right. Yeah, that would be insane to try and map all that out, and then
he said he wanted, one of the things I read about it is he wanted to initially do it all in one take, but then the guy, the other co-writer he was with was like, that's going to be extraordinarily hard. And so he kind of helped to ground him with that. But yeah, no, that's kind of what I have about that one.
It would be almost impossible because you're transitioning from day to night and then night to day.
Yep.
And then, like, how are you going to do that, the flying scene in one shot? Like,
Especially,
you have to have hidden
it's
cuts.
very over-ambitious.
yeah.
I don't think I would have liked it as much if it was a one shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they'd have to sacrifice certain aspects to make that work. Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, we can go back over to the theater stuff. I mean,
You know what really pissed me off?
oh boy.
Okay, so I have probably 7 or 8 years throughout college and then some after of doing live theatrical.
Move your cup over just a little bit.
Just a little.
Well, like the whole coaster and everything.
Hang on, pause.
And
fix it in
keep going. Just keep going
No,
all
it's
the
not
way.
gonna be all in one
the way,
take now.
all
You
the
just
way,
want
all
all,
the
you
way.
just want all the light.
There we go. Yeah, it was blocking all the light from your face.
You want me to be Zoe Deschanel over here?
I got you. All right. So what
Theater, 8 years.
what was chapping your ass? What
chapping
was
my
grinding your gears?
Oh, I see. Am I in the spotlight? Is this
We'll
a
pretend that
spotlight?
was the idea. Yeah.
Cool. Fix it in post. So yeah, about 7, 8 years throughout college and then afterwards. So when they're doing things, I get why they're doing it. They'll be like, places, final scene, 1 minute. Like, that bitch ain't dressed yet. You're not in costume. What the fuck? You should have been here at curtain call, which would have been 12 hours ago. And you should have been dressed for 5 hours and makeup for 3. What are you doing? I'm having an anxiety attack because none of you are ready.
Is it literally an all-day event just to get ready to get started?
That's what we did.
Oh, okay.
We would show up at like 6 a.m.
Oh boy.
Show doesn't open until 2.
Didn't you tell me about times you had to go running before the play?
Yeah, he would make us. Sorry, director Bill. He would make us when we would try out. We would have to run a mile to show we were dedicated
Oh boy.
to the performance. And it worked because the 2 times that I didn't run, because I was a veteran, so I could get away with it, I did terrible. And I could feel it. So I'm just like, nope, I got to run every time now.
Maybe he like ingrained like a ritual into it. Maybe.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. We'd all show up day 1, run, throw up, rehearse.
You all get to embrace the suck.
It's interesting that you mentioned that it gives you anxiety, because we just watched Joe Rogan podcast with a guy who was a former Navy SEAL, and he was talking about why he can't watch movies that are about war and things that give him anxiety, because he knows, like, he's like, people standing in the doorways gives me anxiety, like, why is your bolt all the way back, things like that. And he says that it completely will ruin a movie for him, and he'll have to like stop watching it when he notices things like that. I lost my train of thought. I totally got sidetracked because I looked at the bars. Anyway, so the deal is, it doesn't sound like that was enough to like pull you out of it, but are there any things that you would consider yourself knowledgeable enough to notice in a movie, and that would be enough to make you be like, fuck this movie, I cannot watch it?
So I started learning guns recently.
Oh boy,
How to go
join the
pew
party.
pews. And now every time I see a gun on screen, I look at the finger, and if it's inside the trigger, I'm like, trigger discipline.
Yep.
What are you doing? But no, to the theater thing. Originally, it did pull me out of it. Like, not that they were wrong. They're pretty spot on as far as I could tell. But it was, I was noticing it, and then I was realizing I was noticing it. And I was going into like, okay, there's the stage marker. And then when he said something about, let me tell you about love, and he slams the bottle down. I'm like, okay, I would have said, let me tell you about this. Slam, then continue your line.
Because it's overstepping his
well, because
words.
it's emphasizing.
Gotcha.
It's like, hey, I'm going to say this. Bam! And then go soft. I started going to like director mode. I'm like, I hate this. I hate this. And then he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Tell me. Like, I know that body structure. I'm going to hate this.
See, this is why this is the understanding I'm getting, where when you begin to analyze film more, you don't get to enjoy it for what it is, where you begin to analyze how things were shot, how things were structured, how things were lit, and you nitpick, and then you just kind of get taken back and you're like, what was the film about?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it because I was trying to point things out. Yeah.
That's something that I've worked on a lot over the last couple years. Like when I first graduated, I was like, I'm gonna fucking criticize movies, and I'm gonna know how they're. And then I just started realizing that I was hating watching movies. I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm gonna watch the movie, and if it's good, I'll enjoy it. If it's bad, fuck it, I guess. But I'm not gonna sit here and try and like critique every single movie and try and like I said, once you start nitpicking, you stop paying attention to the story itself, and then you pull yourself out of it. And I think that's an issue that a lot of people have now. That's why I think there's no such thing as an okay movie anymore. It's always, this movie is fantastic or this movie is dog shit. And there's like one thing can make a movie dog shit in people's eyes, like the seal talking about, well, the guns are bad, movie's dog shit. And he, to be fair to that guy, he does talk about it's still a good piece of like entertainment, but the reality is lacking. And I just realized that I don't know enough about anything to ever have that issue come up, unless they're like playing guitar and I could tell it's fake. That bothers me sometimes, I guess.
Blissfully ignorant.
Yeah, and movies, they never. I'm sure they get things wrong, and I don't know enough about that, but like movies about making movies are done by people who make movies, so I feel like they're pretty good about keeping that stuff accurate as possible. So I don't know.
I feel like though it's good to have a very basic knowledge about how movies are made and what makes a good movie,
Right.
because you can then differentiate. Why was it bad?
Correct.
Was it the way that it looked? Was it the way that it sounded? Was it the lighting? Was it the actors? But then when you get into the really nitpicky part of it, that's when it really starts to pull you. So I feel like a basic knowledge of anything related to the film, you're good. But if it's been something you've been ground to live in for plus years, probably not so.
Can I share a story that somewhat connects?
Do it.
So just last night, I'm working with this guy. He's going on about how, you know how like if someone's talking about something and they're very, very knowledgeable, but then you spot something they're wrong about, completely ruins it, right? So there's this guy, right? A YouTube channel. He's in full plate medieval armor or whatever. But he's wearing, get this, guys. He's wearing a 13th century chess piece. And he starts naming all the bullshit on it. But this idiot, he has a 15th century helmet. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, really? That's your problem? That's your problem.
Oh,
that
no.
doesn't nitpicky. It'd be like every time a gun shows up. Quick, what kind of gun is that?
Yeah, I
You're
don't
like,
know.
okay, the Marines wouldn't be using
It's a pistol.
a PP9 or whatever. Insert 9mm gun here.
Is it
They
US or
had the
British?
contract with Beretta from 2001 to 2010. So that would be an M984
That's-
with side rail sights.
That's legit how Star Wars fans can get, and
Right.
it
I
bugs
know.
the hell out of me.
Well, there's a weird like cultural phenomenon about having to be the most knowledgeable person about anything, and like people latch on to one very specific thing that they are going to be the best about, and they're going to know everything about it, and then they start trickling into other things that it's kind of like the actually kind of guy, like facts. Cool. What does it matter? Like, you understand that it's a 13th century and a 15th century and they would never wear it together. Does it really affect the video?
How do you feel that about games, though? For instance, Kingdom Come. It was known to be super accurate, but then people started tearing it apart. So, like, there was none of these people in there. There was none of this in there.
Don't give a shit.
And that's
that,
my feelings
the-
about it, too.
Deliverance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that's important is it fun in the case of a video game?
Did you enjoy
Is it
it?
entertaining? Exactly. Did you enjoy it?
Mm-hmm.
The video of this guy wearing the armor, was he like, yes, this is my full 13th century armor that is worn by the Romans and all this jazz and all that? Or is he like talking about something loosely related, like maybe, I assume he was talking about swords or some fucking, I don't know, trebuchets. And he's like just wearing this for decor to try and make his videos more interesting.
I wore a gas mask on the last podcast. It wasn't in the film, but it was entertaining.
Oh, you didn't have the thing on the front?
Yeah, that would have, you would have
the
died.
filter?
You would have died.
You were not contained? Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's roll it back to Birdman. That noise he made. I do have another topic on the topic of I suppose back to the superpowers.
Yeah.
20 minutes ago. Do you think Reagan's superpowers are real, or are they all on his head, or is there a difference?
I'll come back to that later.
I think they're just part of the show.
You think so?
Because you're watching a play within a movie. So, I have no idea how to formulate that thought.
Yeah, it's
I think they're
it's
all
tricky.
part of the show you're watching, and you're just watching it through his point. You could say, he's going insane, or he actually has superpowers.
So would you say they're all in his head?
Yes, because you do see him fantasizing about flying,
Mm-hmm.
and then he jumps, he flies away, and then he walks back, and then there's a cabbie there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's just delusional now. Damn it! I was gonna look this up. There is a play where the director and the writer, he was so worried about the critics hating his play, he tried to kill himself on the opening night. Fails. The play was spectacular. Everyone loved it. They had to prop him up and lean him out to just kind of wave to the
Someone's
crowd.
like,
Oh, no.
Yeah, like
Weekend at Bernie's.
yeah, it's like I was thinking that at the beginning of this show, at the movie, and then when he says, "Get a better fucking gun," I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a real gun now because
Yep.
Chekhov's gun. But
You know what? Let's
Blew his
fuck it.
nose off.
Let's get into it now. Based on your question, is kind of where the last thing I had, anyways, was. And since you've already started, we'll go back with you. Like, what do you think that happened? Like, what do you think is the reality of this movie?
I think there's no reality. It's a play within a play. We're watching a play about a play. We're watching a movie about a play about a play.
I'm a dude disguised as a dude playing another dude.
It's
You a dude who don't know what to do
inside
here.
of a waffle, inside a dream, inside a fruit stand. It's all inside. It's all Inception.
Okay.
No, but I think that's it's all part of a show, and we never actually see the real.
So
the
we're
real
supposed
people.
to be, I guess we are the audience member technically, but not the audience member for the movie, the audience member for the play that's being performed as the movie.
Yes.
It's hurting my brain.
Okay, the way I see this, I kind of think of it as like a new form, whereas it went from theatrical plays to movies. Now we are watching a movie about a theatrical play, but it's not from a third person perspective. Does that make any sense? Because it's all one shot, you're following with these actors. Rather than a scene change happening in front of you, you are just going with the actor.
Almost
Does that
like
make any sense?
like you're watching a VR movie almost.
Kind of.
Like you're just kind of on the rails with it, and you have the freedom to look around. But of course, in this case, they're showing you where to look. But yeah, because it's not quite first and it's not quite third. I guess technically it would be third because you never. I guess when he's in the hospital, that you sort of see like his perspective, but for the most part, it does follow him. That's interesting.
But it's not set up as standard.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the opening. Here's the scene. Now actors come in. It's you're following someone as they enter the scene. That make any
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. What do you got?
I kind of feel like
Basically, what do you think happened?
I think it's a take on the whole movie is itself. Kind of how I have it is that it's about a man who was successful at one point in time doing something that maybe he loved, maybe he didn't like, but he got so invested in it. I have something on here for like the superpowers thing, whereas basically he had gone through what sounded like 3 different films,
Yeah.
being Birdman.
Yep.
He had done something for him that was super successful, and essentially was writing that for a while till he got sick and tired of it, because as the thing that's discussed a lot in this film is social media. Everything is blowing up in that way. Everyone wants to be relevant. Everyone wants to be known. No one wants to be forgotten about. Where in the end you're forgotten about anyway. But the point is he wants to make his mark to be relevant. Whereas the beginning of the movie, it's talking about the very opening start has the quote that says, you know, has your time here been well spent, or whatever the case is. And he goes, yeah, I got to be beloved and all that. And his main goal is to make sure that he is, I suppose the word, relevant, basically. And so he's going down this path, and I wouldn't say it's a psychosis, but like he's kind of going crazy over it. He's racking his brain over it. He's still kind of behind the times. And it's like I said, he's a washed up person who's trying to become on top again. And it doesn't sound like he's broke or anything. It doesn't sound like he has a lack of money.
Right, because he's got multiple houses, because they talk about selling the house in like wherever, in reference to the fact they've got more than one.
And then the lady kind of pinpoints it right there and says that you are a celebrity and you are not an actor.
Right.
He was a celebrity because he played a very well-known action flick star.
Yep, and they would insinuate that it was a popular franchise that he was a part of.
And he was trying to be an actor, which is more on the artistic side that doesn't really get, I suppose, as much renown, maybe.
Well, I mean, one of the big things in this is art versus media.
Yeah, basically.
Or art versus, I guess, critical versus fan is a big thing in this. Because, like, the critic will make or break the play, and she's going to shit all over it. But in that same bar, the family come up to him and be like, oh my God, you're Birdman. Let's take a picture.
Right.
We love you.
I have that as one of my themes for the film, is that popular work and good work are two different things.
Yep.
Basically. And there's even the quote on his mirror says, a thing is a thing. It's not what you think is the thing, or something like, or say what it is. Yeah. So, I mean, in general, I suppose what I think is happening is he's struggling to keep up. And so we're witnessing throughout the whole entire film house, everyone's different perspective on how they're trying to keep up. Like even Edward Norton's, I guess it's his girlfriend.
The girl, yeah, no,
who starts
Naomi
crying
Watts,
and says she just wants to be known.
They live together,
that
but
she
they're not
made
married.
it. You know,
Yeah.
she wanted to get there as well, and so everyone in that film is kind of struggling to get to that point. But we're more focused on Reagan, or whatever his name is.
Yep.
So I don't know.
And his whole deal too is he wants to be known, not just Birdman. 'Cause
Exactly.
at the beginning, he believes that he is just known as Birdman, and this is his chance to be known as Reagan, the actor. And he talks about like Michael Jackson died the same day as Goldie Hawn, I think, or whoever was it.
Someone unimportant that we don't remember.
What happens when you and Michael Jackson die in the
Yeah.
same day?
Yeah.
Right.
No one talks about your death.
Right, he wants to be the most important person, which is a contradiction to him not wanting to do social media.
He wants to be up there with the people he idolizes.
Right.
Because they keep name dropping these famous writers or philosophers or whoever. So he wants to be up there with them, not as Birdman, but as Reagan, whoever. Right, the director of this show.
Because he talked to that one lady, says, yeah, I was on a plane flight with George Clooney,
Yep.
and if that plane went down, it would have talked about George Clooney.
Front
not me.
page.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which that's his whole deal. Like you said, this movie's all about ego and his ego. There's a bunch of stuff, obviously, but that's one of the main things.
Deep.
Yeah. I don't think any of it happened.
No.
I think it's all like his last moments of like cognitive functions before he dies. The question is when he's dying, I guess. So I don't know if there's a couple options. It could be when he tries to drown himself, and like
Because it started out with the
jellyfish, ends with the jellyfish, and then that's one of the last things he talks about is like the feeling of the jellyfish.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
At the
Very
beginning.
first shot?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's either that, or it can be when he shoots himself, or when he tries to fly. But I think it's the jellyfish, just because that's kind of like the first and last kind of things you see. So I think it's the thoughts he's having while he's drowning, and like his brain's starting to shut down. I don't know if I think the idea at the time was he's like, I'm gonna do this play, and because he's thinking about what he truly wants as he's dying. So basically, the first 5 minutes, he's already floating. Causes the light bucket to fall on the actor, and that would also explain the weird like time jumps, because there's like as the bucket lands, he walks out, and within like a matter of seconds, someone already knows who was hit by the bucket and like asking if he's okay, even though this lady was in a completely different room. Like she's got knowledge that she shouldn't have based on where she was at the time. And then like there's those when Edward Norton and Emma Stone are about to have sex up in like the rafter area, and then it pans down and like it's the performance. Like the time jumps could be argued that it's just a slick transition to move the story forward, but it could also be
that's why I took it as.
He's kind of like, he could also just be like losing his frame of time as well, because there are some things that seem disjointed, like almost like a dream where it just like jumps and now you're here and you don't know why. He also, his daughter, he's talking at the beginning Skype to get him flowers. She buys the flowers, gets back there, puts him in his room in like the 3 minutes that he was on stage during that rehearsal in the bucket falls. And I think he's in his dying like last moments, he's also acting as the director, because like you were talking about, he says cue music, the music starts, he says cut the music ends.
He's watching a play of his life.
Exactly. And I think him acting as the director also would explain why there are a couple of scenes where he's not present but we're still there with the camera. Like him and his daughter and Mike up on the rooftop, and some of those other scenes where I mean, if it was just all in his mind, he shouldn't see, but at the same time, it almost seems like those are what he thinks is happening. Like sometimes it doesn't always track, like why Naomi Watts and his current girlfriend start just having a like lesbian pollen attack in that back room. Like maybe that's kind of what he was thinking. Who knows?
That's what the audience wants.
Yeah, and like at the same time, I think Mike represents what he wants to be, because Mike is a super well regarded stage actor, and like he's not the most popular person in the world, but at the same time, everyone who's is just like, yeah, he's miraculous, he's fantastic, he can do no wrong, and that's kind of what he wants to be thought of as.
He walks in one day, doesn't even get a full rehearsal in, and he's off book, done, ready to go.
And he just knows the lines because Naomi Watts had ran through it, but he's like retained all of it.
I mean, that's
which,
also
given having actually memorized lines, yeah, that will happen. Just helping someone read them through, you will learn. I learned every single line in every play I was ever in because we heard them all the goddamn time.
Yeah. But I don't know. That's the hard part, though. Like, I think that's why I like this movie so much. Is there's so many different angles you can come at it as, and I don't think the director has ever come out, and I don't think he ever would come out and say this is what happened, this is why. I think the idea was he wanted people to kind of try and pull back layers and get their own idea as to what happened. Because I know there are people who think this 100% is like, yeah, he actually had superpowers. He was able to fly, and at the end she looks up and there he is. I know I've definitely heard where it's all real until he shoots himself, and then the end scene is the dream of him dying, like, because that's where he gets everything he wants, critically acclaimed. His ex-wife is there, his buddy is there, all the press wants to see him, and his daughter is happy.
That's the dream, isn't it? Like you kill yourself, and then everyone's like, oh, we loved him, he was so amazing,
but he didn't actually have to die, right?
Yeah.
But then he flies away at the end and she's happy. But I think the entire thing is like not a coma.
I mean, it would explain this whole sequence of events of how quickly it happens. Because I mean, like when you have a dream, sometimes like the timeline just doesn't make sense in your dreams. So in that way, it just kind of flows together. I have it in my overall thoughts, but basically how I was thinking about the film is that it can, like when you were talking about how it can be viewed, is the theme of the film is what the viewer wants it to be. For like, for instance, if you're really big into action, CGI loaded movies or something like that, you can say that Reagan maybe actually had superpowers and that he did indeed fly at the end. But whereas on the other hand, if you're artsy, dramatic, and thought-provoking story, you can interpret that Reagan's own self-realization drove him to insanity and eventually suicide. I mean, if he remained ignorant to what people thought of him, and most importantly, if he thought of himself, he would have kept his sanity and self-respect, and it was the virtue of ignorance that kept him from taking his life. And so I feel like it is us as the viewer to interpret what it is, label it happy ending, Birdman, sad ending, the unexpected virtue of ignorance, which is why the movie has the two titles. So I mean, you get to pick your own label as far as what the film could be.
Yep.
It's brilliant.
And I do remember when this came out, it wasn't exactly, the white and blue or black and gold dress, kind of debate going on here. But there was a pretty healthy debate when it first came out. Like, well, was the ending real or was that just a dream? Yeah.
It's along
I think
the
you
lines
missed
of
the entire
Inception
point
and
of the
all that.
movie if that was the.
Yeah, that was, for some reason, that was the big deal. I don't know. And I've never gone back and looked into, like, I don't know, this movie kind of just escaped my memory for a while. Like, I own it, and I've had it on there since it came out, and I've always, like, yeah, it's a really good movie, but I've never gone back to watch it, and I've also never, like, tried to delve into, like, theories or anything on it, because, like, so many new movies come out, and then you start getting into those. But I would imagine with, say, 2014 it came out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like a solid 4+ years of it being around. There's probably some like really good kind of analysis that probably been done on at this point.
A dark hidden theory.
Yeah, but the nice part about that is everything is open. Like you can tear it in one direction or you can go a completely different direction, and neither could really be wrong, as long as you can back it up, obviously. But I don't know.
Question on that kind of thing. Maybe not. Basically, I have do you think Birdman accurately portrays social media? Do you feel that to be relevant or perhaps even exist at all, it's necessary to have a web presence of some kind?
Yes and no.
Granted,
Yeah.
this was made in 2014. Now in 2019, I feel like it's absolutely necessary in a
Well,
sense.
I mean, 2014 is kind of, that's around the area where that was becoming a big deal. But I agree with Lance that, like, it's situational, right?
Yeah.
Like, it would be hard to be a new person, like totally fresh coming out of nowhere, to not have some sort of social media to help build you up. But like, Harrison Ford does not need social media. Like, he's set.
Yeah.
Right.
Will Smith doesn't need to work with YouTube
Right.
to make
It's
videos.
rewind time.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I mean, it couldn't hurt, but kind of goes back to that art versus media. There's very much the critic is you're nothing, even though Michael Keaton's a great actor. We're told no, you're nothing because you starred in this $1 billion movie. When are the Oscars happening?
They already did, I think.
They already did.
Oh, no. They haven't happened yet. Sorry, the Grammys happened.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's kind of a debate right now. Should a comic book movie win Best Picture? Is the fact that it's a comic book movie detract from it being a groundbreaking movie? Right?
Yeah.
Like, should Avengers win Best Picture? Can you not say that it's gone over 20 movies now?
Yep.
10 years, all culminating in this.
Billions and billions.
Should
and
that
billions.
not get some type of award?
Right.
Okay, so yeah, you're not going to get an award just because you made the most money, but that's still a huge achievement. Can you just write that off?
Yeah, and that's kind of, I think that's been a larger growing kind of contention, or like a fight between the critics and the fans, because your average Joe would be like, yeah, Avengers should win Best Movie because that was the one that entertained me the most.
Yeah.
Versus the critics are like, yeah, but this movie that 35 people saw spoke volumes towards the human like triumph and all that. Yeah.
Let me pitch a movie for you. All right. There's one antagonist who wants to wipe out an entire portion of people because he thinks it'll be better for everyone else, right? And then you have the protagonist who want to stop him, right? Is that a movie worth seeing? And then seeing the drama play out between them.
Yes, because Avengers was awesome.
Exactly, right?
Right.
But if you pitch that as like a World War II movie,
Right.
with
Because Hitler was
Thanos being
awesome. I mean,
Hitler.
bad.
Careful.
Yeah.
Right. If you pitch that as a realistic, this is the human condition to fight, which is what comic books are, the modern myth.
Right.
They're the modern
Greek
Hercules
mythology and all that, yeah.
or mythology. Yeah, these are the gods fighting. So yeah, it might be targeted at a younger audience, or maybe dumbed down. Does that change what it is?
And I feel like in their own right, like those movies have achieved so much. Like the story. So I guess the big issue that people have is it is a blockbuster. So there is a decent amount of time dedicated to big effects and explosions. But you also make a good point about the themes that are being portrayed in the story itself, while not being like a fully groundbreaking story, are relatable. And if you think about the work that goes into those, not only just forgetting the fact that they tied like 15 movies together to weave one fully arcing story, the fact that they can get that many people together with that much stuff going on, there's never any like weird like continuity. There's some like story-wise continuity errors sometimes, but you don't see like things that seem out of place. You don't see like weird cameras. Nothing's ever blurry. Obviously they put a bunch of money into making sure of that, but that's still a huge technical achievement. And I think those movies, to me personally, hit enough of the entertainment, technical, and artistic balance, because they do have their own style. And I think the biggest way to kind of enforce that is you've got Marvel movies and you've got DC movies. That there should be enough to show you that it's not just a matter of whether a superhero should. These have set a whole new standard of what a movie is, and if movies like Titanic can win, that's a fucking blockbuster. That's all that movie was. There was nothing crazy like mind bending. Yeah, it was just sometimes just because it's a blockbuster should not disqualify it from the Oscars.
I feel like the Avengers is like a bit is the grander scheme of a Guy Ritchie film, where all these events are happening, and at the end of it all just kind of comes
Wraps
together.
Up. Yeah.
And so by having that movie come out, you've got all these overarching stories just suddenly, boop, all at once.
Yep.
I forgot how we got on this topic.
Art versus media and all that jazz.
Okay. I just forgot where I was going with it, but it's a story. It's about the story for me.
Yeah.
I care about stories.
I do have a different question on here as well. Where was it? Oh, there. It's also my favorite scene in this film, so I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. But
play with my balls.
No, not quite.
Okay.
Can we start doing best lines?
100% if you'd like.
Because this one has some good ones.
Oh, yeah.
The movie seems to defy Birdman's claims about the value of Hollywood, but do you think he has a point? Is there anything inherently wrong with providing some good old-fashioned spectacle just to entertain the masses?
Yes and no. Like, as long as you acknowledge that it's empty calories. As long as you acknowledge that I only came to this movie to
Like
see
the
some
Expendables?
titties. Or the Expendables.
It's a movie.
Yeah, they know exactly what they are.
Transformers.
Right. Transformers, yeah, you can probably enjoy that a lot more if you just turn your brain off. But you have to be careful not to consume too much. It's like McDonald's. Yeah, you like it. It tastes good. You know it's not good for you, though. You have to have some green in there. You have to have some actual art along with your...
So watch good movies, but sprinkle in some of that sugar.
Stimulation over substance, essentially.
Well, the other thing, too, is everyone seems to have this idea that their opinion is the one that matters. Like, this movie was made for me, and I don't like it.
Like Mandy. Mandy's a great example.
Yeah.
Some people love that film. Others
I'm starting to
not
get over
so
that.
much.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it's-
Transformers is a big one.
Yeah.
I fucking hate Transformers. I cannot stand those movies. I didn't play with Transformers growing up. Didn't watch the Transformers TV show. It's got no nostalgia for me. But I know plenty of people that at least liked the first one, kind of like the second one, and then they maybe petered off. But you know who loved every single one of them? 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. Not every movie is for like a 40-year-old adult who's like
Waiting for
reads
you
all
to
the
call
time.
out one
Who's
of our
critical
old
of everything
classmates.
they watch.
Exactly. Like I think it's the issue where it's like a weird. It's the hipster problem. So you want to like something and support that thing, but then once it becomes popular, you're like, oh, I don't know, it's they sold out there. Now it's all about marketing and money. And that's kind of like they have the same thought process towards movies. They're like, yeah, I really like movies, but as soon as it's like the biggest movie and it's not talking about the human condition, it's like, well, fuck that. It's just a marketing. Yeah, it is marketing because it's a business and they want to make money, but it also entertains a lot of fucking people. So who gives a shit? Just don't watch it. That's all you got to do. Don't watch it. Fuck. Well, I'm getting heated.
I mean, the same could be said for the games industry.
Mm-hmm.
There's some video games out there that are spectacular. Then there's some that's just basically made to be a cash grab.
Yeah, and people have
Looking
this.
at you, EA.
They're getting better.
We'll see.
People have this like idea that if things keep going this way, you'll only have blockbusters. You'll only have EA as a game company. It's like there'll always be someone out there who loves either the movie or the gaming industry that'll make their own startup, and they can release these indie games. No one buys the fucking indie games though. That's the problem.
Have you seen how many 8-bit games are out there though?
For real.
Oh boy.
For real. Everyone wants, like, I don't know. People don't want to put their money where their mouth is. It's like you said, this movie came out to what, $400,000?
Yeah. So it was drummed up in a budget of $18 million and came out to $424,000.
Right.
It was
So
just opening
like-
week, though, right?
Yeah. Opening weekend, which was in October.
I wonder if that's a problem. Like, how do you market? Because it's not a superhero movie.
Nope.
I mean, you can market it as a theatrical drama, but then no one's going to go see it. I'm sure if they knew what it was, if they knew that it was going to be theatrical, but deal with social media, superheroes, actors, and Hollywood versus art and media, they'd probably go see it. But how do you market that?
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
But I think
it's
I
a
think
great
filmmakers,
movie.
I think they knew it when they were.
Yeah.
That's why they had an $18 million budget versus like we were even estimating like 30.
I feel like a good portion of that was probably also spent in that one like 3-minute section of just all the special effects.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I
can't imagine those aren't
love
cheap.
that scene when they just look you dead in the eye and say, "Is this what you want? You want the explosion. You want the violence.
Fucking-
You want the tits and the chicks making out for no reason."
That's a trailer.
And
Oh,
then
I
you watch
love
the
that.
movie and you're like, this is not the movie.
I don't know. Oh, I enjoy it.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
This is when I used to watch reviews on this, I thought this sounds stupid. I hate the things where it's the old guy who's trying one last ride, but the new young buck's coming up and trying to take over. So once Norton comes in and he's like starting to give him lines and dialogue, I'm like, I don't want to see him struggling to hold on to his play.
The wrestler. Oof.
And then when he starts smacking with the paper, I'm like, yeah. fuck you.
Teach the young buck.
Get behind me, Satan.
So that's about all I have on my
Yeah.
notes.
We hit all my stuff. I didn't have honestly a whole lot. It's just kind of another one of those movies. Like we do so many movies that are just hot garbage because they're fun, but when we get a good movie, like I don't have a whole lot of notes on there because I just end up getting drawn back into it.
Not much to criticize.
Smells like balls. I
Let's
love
do
that
it.
line. It's the first line. I love it.
I do have that on my sections here to add to it, either favorite scene or favorite line. So I mean, that could be something we do.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a favorite scene or line?
Oh, I for sure have a favorite line. I've already said it.
Play with my balls.
It's just such everything
he
about
just
that.
gets so close to her
It's
face.
brilliant. It's so good.
with my balls.
There's such like they're having this big like dramatic thing and they're having an argument and he's like calming her back down and it's like you can tell they have a volatile relationship and just like break my balls.
Hey.
Edward Norton.
I'm hard.
What? I mean, no.
That was
sometimes
my-
you're like you're a little difficult, but no, I have an erection.
That was my hashtag Me Too rape on stage moment. Oh, jeez. What a dick.
This movie is definitely very much a satire as well. Like, it's got to be.
It's a weird mix.
Yeah.
Because if you were going in thinking it's going to be very artsy, very classical,
I went in thinking it was going to be an action film.
the very first line
Shit,
is,
you're not.
smells like balls. Like,
Balls.
okay. I guess we're going there. Did he do the Birdman voice?
Yeah. Yeah. He did.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
I
his
love
take
that.
on, he was trying to mock, not necessarily
Christian
mock, but
Bale,
yeah,
right?
He was just going after his Batman.
Yeah.
He did well on it, I'll tell you that much.
Do you have a favorite line?
Basically, that was the what happens when you and Michael Jackson die on the same day. No one talks about your death. I'm like, oof, that's deep.
Cuts. What was your what the fuck moment?
When Edward Norton just strips straight up naked, just goes in there. I wasn't expecting him to take his whole pants off and everything, and he's just standing there like, okay, cool. Everyone's just there, and he's just totally cool with it. All right.
What's
That-
her line? It's
that-
theater or something.
Yeah, I have fucking theater kids written down here. Because Because that is such a theater kid. Like, okay, clothes off. We gotta change. Let's go. Come on.
You
Wrap
know,
it up.
all the jocks would like make fun of and beat up theater kids, but jocks do the same thing. The fucking the gymnasium locker room. They're just like, oh, let's all hang out fucking naked, bros.
Let me put my leg up here.
It's just in a different
Let's have an
spot.
intimate conversation while buck fucking naked.
I'm gonna slap your ass now too. Hey, good job out there. Good hustle.
Yeah. My
job,
what the
Timmy.
fuck was Holly. I always forget she's in this. I'm
Holly
just like-
Flax.
I'm just like, oh fuck, it's Holly. What the fuck?
Holly.
From The Office. She's the one that Michael ends up actually with
I
by
never,
the end.
I never watched The Office.
Yeah, I think we talk about this almost every time. Like,
Just like wrestling.
Have
did we
gotten
get
a
my
wrest-
reference in?
You did say The Wrestler.
I mentioned the
with
wrestler
Mickey
because the
Rourke.
film was about the guy who were the young kids and the guy's struggling to be relevant.
Let's see. Spider-Man. 3 minutes of plate time.
And I'm wearing my Macho Man shirt.
No,
there you go.
Yeah.
There's your one per
It's
list.
cyclical. Also, Batman, because in Batman and Robin, Bane was the ultimate
yeah.
solution.
Jeep.
Yeah, Jeep Swanson.
Jeep Swanson.
Solid fucking name.
I'm gonna throw some lines at you here. You know, I'm just standing here with my cock out. That was a good one. Smells like balls. Already mentioned that. Do. Take your critique and shove it right up your wrinkly tight ass.
It was so weird because like I don't know if he's saying tight as like it's still pretty good for your age, or if it's tight like you fucking tight ass, you bitch.
Probably more that second one.
And then of course, bye bye, fuck you. Like,
I
yep.
do. His interactions with himself are great.
Oh, I love that. Just when he's going crazy, just
It's his
trashes the
ego,
place.
100%.
Yep. What was your favorite scene?
That scene where basically all that shit's going down, the extra theater stuff, or not theater. So first I had written down was when he walks through the city in his underwear, and then he goes into the theater and just kind of continues out his role. But it's more so that point where he's walking down the street and Birdman's flying behind him, just talking about basically what he should be doing and what he was all about. Just
Spelling it out for the audience.
Exactly, yeah. I don't want to say it breaks the fourth wall in a sense, but it kind of
They
feels like it
straight
does.
up. He just looks dead in the camera. He's like, you fucking love it.
Exactly.
You know this is what they want.
What you got?
My favorite and my what the fuck are kind of the same. It's that I knew about the scene going in, and I was totally afraid of it because I hate awkward humiliation humor. So he's running out there in his tighty whities. Like, I get it. Show has to go on, and this is everything we're writing on this. And then he kind of transforms into like, yeah, fuck you, I'm just gonna strut. Yeah, what? And he's yelling at people, and he's like, fuck you, I'm going in. And then the realization, I have to somehow improv something that goes into my favorite scene, where he's just like, yep, I'm owning this. We're doing this. Someone hands him a gun. Thank you.
You do get to see the exact moment where it hits him. It's like, oh yeah, I have to do the scene now, and he's like puts on the wig, and then when they put the gun, he's like, what the? Oh yeah, thank you.
Put the gun down.
Yeah.
Oh, that is great. I love it.
I do also like that as the movie progresses, he does get better at that scene too. Like the first time they do it, it's funny because I don't know if funny is the right word. Because the potential rape is not super funny, but when he gets out of the bed and he's still got the fucking the erection, and that's all he can. That's like that. They should have just focused on that because that's all anyone's gonna see. But then when he
Which I think is the point, though.
probably yeah, when
That
he
got the views.
when he comes in later and he's coming on and off the street, he's completely thrown off his game. But it puts like he's pissed because he just saw him kissing his daughter. And like you can tell he's more in his emotions on that one, and then obviously by the final time you see it, he's like fully off the deep end, like the character he portrays in that play is also, and that's like the realist one and gets a standing ovation. So I always thought that was kind of a cool progression throughout as well.
And then there's now a crazy man walking through half naked for no reason. It's part of the show. Well, I heard in the first preview, they just broke character, started arguing because he replaced his gin. That I thought was kind of funny. So yeah, that was my what the fuck and favorite scene.
Sick.
MVP.
My favorite scene, I was gonna say the play with my balls scene. But I also, since we got that in the favorite live, I'm gonna go with the one I actually have written down was when Sam yells at Riggins. So he goes in and he's talking to her after he finally has like kind of a come down moment, and it's like, oh, this will be a nice scene. They're finally gonna like bond together, and he's like, what's that smell?
Oh, wow.
And she's got the joint and the crunchy peanut butter.
This.
But she completely tears down his ego, like, and the camera just gets like right up in there, and her eyes are like half the screen, and she's like, that was the first moment that I saw Emma Stone was like, fuck, she really is a good actress, because like I was sad. I felt like she was yelling at me.
She was.
She
that
breaks
was
him the fuck
directly
down.
to the fourth wall.
Yeah.
She made the most mistakes during the filming of it all. Zach Galifianakis made the least. I keep screwing up his last name, but yeah,
It doesn't matter.
I couldn't say Leguizamo last week.
That's true.
Leguizamo.
I don't know.
Galifianakis.
I just thought that was cool, because that was 100% like spells out one of the big themes of ego. You don't matter. You don't exist. And it's like,
You're not relevant.
And like, it's nice that they come back to what she was doing too on the toilet paper, because it ties all that back in. It's like, this is how long we've been here. You don't matter.
Wipes his nose with it.
Yep. Which is what he does with his ego. He's just like, oh yeah, fuck it. Who's your MVP?
Cinematographer,
Okay.
basically the camera people, just being able to do. Granted, it was only 16 different cuts, but still, like, for 2 hours worth of a film, like, wow, a feat it must have been to be like, let's plan this out, let's get on. Like, I'm assuming they probably don't use rails anymore, do they?
For dollies?
Yeah.
Not in this movie. This movie was definitely a Steadicam
Like
setup.
a gimbal type thing.
Like the
big old
full
chest
where they,
rig.
exactly, yeah, because like they're able to, you can see the camera shake, but for how smooth they're going up and down stairs, it has to be one of those, and those things I hear are heavy.
I can imagine.
I would like to, I'm sure I should get this on like Blu-ray or something, but it'd be interesting to see how that works, because there's parts like you said where they're going backwards and then downstairs, so they've got their guide with them who's like directing them. But you also can't just be like, hey, stairs coming up, because then that could interfere with something else. And, they're probably carrying like a boom behind them. And it's like a whole team of people
just
like
navigating the hallway.
trying not to
Tight
die.
hallway.
Yeah.
I also feel like it's probably not the case at all, but like, would there ever be like a rig where the camera's on the dude's back and he has the screen and controls and can do it from there?
Oh, I'm
Is
sure
that a thing?
I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't exist, but it's definitely within the realm of possibility at this point. Like the amount, like the crazy gimbal stuff control they have. Yeah, for sure. What do you got?
It was a challenge. At first, it was Galifianakis, because, okay, he was great. And then Norton comes on, like, okay, he's great. And then Norton and Keaton, like, oh my God, they're both amazing actors. They're great. I'm going to say Birdman.
The actual Birdman?
The ego. It's what they've always fucking wanted. It's fumbles. It's always been fumbles.
He's so good too. Like he's such a dick. Like in the best way. He's just like it's like he's got the devil on his shoulder and the angel just never shows up. He's like, give into it. Just do it.
It's like we watched Silent Bob Strike Back yesterday.
Yep. I was gonna go with Edward Norton initially, because it's usually what I think of, because he's got my favorite line, and I think he fucking crushes it. But I went with the same one you did. His name is Emmanuel Lubezki. He's the director of photography on this, so he would have been the one that was like coordinating the shots and the movements, and then he would work with the lighting crew, because that's what like was blowing my mind, is like you don't see a light this entire movie, other than obviously when they're on stage and you got the stage lights, but everything is properly lit and they've got interesting colors going on, and like it hurts my brain to think of like how they possibly coordinated all this perfect setup to convey everything within the shot, and to think of the chaos that's outside of the frame to make that happen.
All the insanity.
There's already enough chaos in frame.
Yeah.
With all the theater crew going around. And then there's an actual crew doing work outside of that.
And like there's never an underexposed or overexposed scene. It never gets grainy. It's fucking incredible.
I mean, I assume most of all of it took place in that actual theater, and there wasn't actually built sets. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
But like when I watched the extra disc for Gravity I watched how they pieced together piece by piece like a set just to do certain shots to move through tight corners and walls, and like in order to do this in a space that you can't take apart.
Yep.
What?
And you know why it's really interesting that you bring up Gravity? Because Emmanuel was the director of photography on Gravity.
That would make sense.
Also The Revenant. Also Children of Men.
I haven't seen it.
That's the one with I want to say Gerard Butler. No, it's the other guy, Clive Owens, the other Gerard Butler. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they built those hallway sets, because I don't know how else. I mean, I guess they could use practical lighting, but I don't know. It hurts. I don't want to think about it anymore.
The logistics.
Yeah, it's just insane. Like, even like you've seen just the struggle of trying to get this thing lit properly. Like, and we're a stationary shot and we still don't get it figured out. Like, they got C clamps probably, and they're trying to and some of those shots look so good. Like, they could be a still frame and people would be like, I want that on my wall. Like, just like get a real good noir effect going on in a lot of shots, like him in the bar, like really low light, but everything is perfectly
Shot.
Finished.
Whew.
Are you ready to do your what the fuck moment?
Yeah, it was Holly.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
The only other thing I was thinking, I know we don't like rate movies. I mean, and I feel like by the end of the whole deal, the listener can probably figure out whether or not we enjoyed it or not. But I thought it might be interesting, like, you'll like this if you like this type deal. And the only one that sprang to my mind was Black Swan. I don't know if you guys have seen Black Swan or not, but similar kind of idea of the psychosis going on, the pressure of something that's an art form.
If not only for the Mila Kunis scene.
The young
lesbian scenes, it's got it all.
The young buck coming in, taking over the old guard.
And I like, obviously the other one I would think would be if you like the continuous shot stuff. But that to me is like the perfect, like, if you like Black Swan, you'll like this.
Fight Club.
Fight Club's not a bad option either. Yeah.
As much as a cult film as it is, it's pretty good.
It's another one of those movies where people always think, yeah, it's a big action movie, but in reality, there's only a couple fight scenes, and the majority of it's more of a, is he losing his mind? Is it crazy? What's going on here? Yeah.
It's one of those movies that makes you want to watch it the second time.
Thought-provoking.
Do you think they mentioned the guy shooting himself in the cheek was because Ed Norton was going to be in that scene later?
I don't know.
Doesn't do that in Fight Club.
Shoots
Himself in the cheek. And then kills Brad Pitt.
A lot of intertwining references.
Huh.
Yeah. So I guess we'll leave you with that there. You know?
Yes, quite.
So that was fucking Birdman, which
It's a great movie.
Better than I expected.
I think it might be the best movie we've watched for this.
I didn't do it justice when I first watched it because I fell asleep through it and only woke up during the time where the bird guy was flying behind him and then fell back asleep again.
Nice.
It was late.
I was really afraid I was going to fall asleep.
So let's see. You did the Happening, and I did Birdman. So now the onus is on you.
Oh God.
You don't have to pick anything right now.
You guys ever seen Bloodfest?
Bloodfest? I don't think so. I don't think I even heard of
the
Bloodfest.
Rooster Teeth. It's their second movie after Laser Team.
Is Meg Turney in it?
No, Barbara Dunkelman is.
Still on board, I guess.
I mean,
She's the blonde one.
Yeah.
Not Elise.
Not Elise.
Malana.
Yeah, she's the better one.
Elise?
Barbara or Elise or Alana?
You know,
First of all, I
every time
find this
see Elise-
disgusting. Second of all, the answer is Elise. 'Cause she's so fucking funny.
Every time I see Elise, I'm like, Barb? Nope, that's not
Yeah.
Barbara.
That was a
Elise
running
is
joke for a long time,
hilarious.
wasn't it?
Probably.
Think
Like
so.
they're just like blonde lady on the Rooster Teeth. So they're
I
like,
never
"Who's who?"
followed, what are they called now? Funhouse?
Yeah. Yep.
I started following them just before they joined Rooster Teeth. And then they changed.
When they were
I'm
Inside
like,
Gaming?
I don't care anymore. Maybe. I don't
Yeah.
When they were Inside Gaming, they weren't very
They're
themselves.
back. Also, we're getting way sidetracked at the end
Yeah,
again.
sorry.
No, anyway, I've always kind of wanted to see Bloodfest. And
Okay.
I think it's at Walmart. I might go buy it.
Sick.
Okay.
Stay tuned next time. Might be Bloodfest.
Maybe we can get Rooster Teeth in on this. I doubt it.
Oh, man.
I'm not going to say it's a
yeah.
dream to maybe get picked up by Rooster Teeth, but it might be a dream.
Hey, we might be able to actually shout out something on the Twitter. Unlikely, but hey, we'll try.
Like
We'll see.
every other fucking one of them.
Anyway, thanks for watching.
Yeah.
And see you next time.
Turkey with leukemia.
Cats all on the foot.